Hey guys, how's it going? Ryle Pop Golden here, and welcome to episode 4 of Road to the Top 500. I don't really have anything crazy for you guys today in terms of prefacing the battles. Um, Same team as last episode, Stunfisk in the lead, Altaria, Azumarill in the back, and I think we're just going to jump right into it, so enjoy. Here we go. First game against Tony MP. So we see the perfect lead right here against Skarmory. They switch out instantly into Vigoroth, and we see a lot of this now. A lot of safe switching. I've noticed it a ton more in the past few days, especially against these higher ranked opponents. Their teams are built very well. I like this team a lot, but Altaria and Azumarill both have their weaknesses, and if you pick wrong when they safe switch, you could be punished very badly. Now, I went Altaria against the Vigoroth. If they have a Meganium in the back, this is going to not be good for us, even though we have that Skarmory, taken care of. So, that is something to keep in mind, and I'm recording this on May 30th. These are the battles from May 23rd, and I've been seeing so much of this that I'm actually making another adjustment to my team, but we'll get there in a few days. Right now we see a Whiscash come in, so we're not going to get punished too badly. Azumarill and Altaria can both take care of Whiscash. Whiscash is going to Mud Bomb down the Azumarill at about maybe like 20% every Mud Bomb, which is pretty bad for us, but our bubbles are going to take a little toll on it. If we went Azumarill against the Vigoroth, it would have had the Mud Bomb Blizzard mind game play against the Altaria. So this is fine. I don't mind having a Azumarill against Whiscash. And now we have Stunfisk in the back for Skarmory. And should this Whiscash take care of Azumarill, Stunfisk will be able to knock it out. And they are going to burn their second shield right here. So us having a shield, we will have one for the Stunfisk. If we come in, Mud Bomb this, they switch into Skarm very quickly, so we have to keep in mind that they do have that in the back. We're not going to waste a shield on a Sky attack here. It's not going to do very much. We are going to have to keep it just in case they come back with that Whiscash and do have a Mud Bomb. But we want to get our own Mud Bomb ready to go and not have to do it against that Whiscash, so we farm up a little extra right here. We're very close to having it ready to go, and just in case they had one ready to go, we did have the shield, but we get to it first. So we start the day off good. I'm not going to lie. Today was a crazy day in battles, and you'll see why. So, we see a Deoxys defense form lead. This is an interesting one. There are people that will play. There's one specific way I noticed to win the Stunfisk matchup, and it looks like my opponent is not going to be doing it right here. They're going to just go for a Rock Slide, which is not going to do very much at all. So, they're kind of in a losing position. Even with another one or a Psycho Boost right here, we're still going to be okay, and it's just another Rock Slide, so it looks like we're going to either get a shield out of them or win the lead matchup. And we just go for a Mud Bomb to save that little bit of energy, because Mud Bomb takes a little tiny bit less energy than Discharge does, and we do get a shield out of them. And we get the shield, and we still get another move off first, so now we have switch advantage, and we're up a shield, which is great. Now, Shiftry is this team's not kryptonite. It does put a hurting on this team, and we see a Skarm right here, and we want to leave Altaria to finish off the Shiftry, just because we would take a ton more from Leaf Blade than we would from Foul Plays. And we're up a shield right now, so we're in a good spot. So we charge up the Hydro Pump and make them think that we're going to Hydro Pump to try to bait the shield, but they don't go for it. So we keep a little bit of farmed energy, and we're going to use our first shield right here. And we're going to charge up, farm up, farm up, farm up. And before we can go for that Ice Beam, they're actually going to get another Sky attack. We're okay. We go for the Ice Beam now. Puts us in a pretty bad spot against the Shiftry, because it might be able to farm us down and have some energy left over. So we go quickly into the Altaria. And we're going to try to go for the win right here. Obviously, they're going to block it. And now with just having one shield, we're in a pretty interesting spot. We're going to have to use the first one. And they just go for a Leaf Blade. That's an excellent play on my opponent's part to keep some energy. Excellent bait on my opponent's part. And this Foul Play is going to take us out. And, but wow, so lucky. They played it very, very well. But we do get to that Ice Beam before they can get to anything. And look how much HP we have left. We have, like, just the tiniest little bit. So, here we go. Altaria, we're seeing a bunch of different leads. We saw Scarf, we saw Defense Form Deoxys, now we're seeing Altaria. So, 2-0 so far, and let's see how the Altaria player is going to play this one. They block the first discharge, which is an interesting play. They take the second one, and now since we went through 2 full discharges, we know they have enough for a Dragon Pulse. Normally I block that, I let this one go through, I value the shield, and we're going to be able to get off one more discharge right here. I'm surprised I let that Dragon Pulse go through, but now we're up a shield, we've lost switch advantage, and we're just going to go quickly into Altaria and try to whittle it down before it can get off this Sky attack. Unless it's a Dragon Pulse, they actually had enough for another Dragon Pulse, so we take a whole bunch of damage, and then we see the switch into a Azumarill, and this game is pretty much over at this point. I mean, that was just not well played on my part. We should have blocked the first Dragon Pulse. That was the first thing we should have done, and then just not realizing that they had enough energy farmed up for that second Dragon Pulse. I mean, we took both of those, and now, obviously, you gotta know. I like to hold my shields for as long as possible, but you have to know when to use them, or when you think it's the right time to use them, because sometimes you are gonna get baited, and it's hard to make certain reads. Sometimes you make the hero calls, and you say they're bluffing, but sometimes you think they are, and they're not, and you take a ton of damage, and it looks like this is gonna be a pretty big L, I'm thinking. Azumarill and Altaria both have very little left, so we're able to farm that down after an Ice Beam that doesn't knock it out. And now with both of us being so low, we see a Registeel, and I'm surprised that I'm still playing this game, but what I've learned from playing numerous different games over the course of my life is that you play until the final bell, because you never know what could happen. There's always time for your opponent to make a misplay or for something to happen where you put yourself in a position to win. So don't ever give up until it's over. Right here, I think it's safe to say it's over, but I still use the shield and get whittled down honorably. So 2-1 as we go to game 4. Now we see a Stunfisk mirror match lead. In this one, well, actually, the tie will go to the Pokemon with the highest attack, I believe. So they instantly block the first one. I'm very surprised at that, but that leads me into making a certain decision later on in this lead. Now, I want to win lead very badly. I'm willing to put one shield on it, especially if he already put a shield on it. If he didn't do that and I won the speed tie, the attack tie, then maybe I use the shield if he goes first. Maybe I let it go through and forget about lead. But right here, I am going to use a shield just because I know we're going to be even now. And if I get the tie, then we'll be good. And I'm actually going to get this one, so we either win lead or we get his second shield, and we're going to get the second shield out of him. Now, this puts me in a weird spot, but I think I'm going to let it go through because he can have lead. I mean, I have Pokemon that have very versatile attacks, and we could take a discharge right here, no problem. It'll do about 20-25%. We take that, no problem, and now we have a nice farmed up Altaria. So we see their Altaria, and with a shield, this is just the position you want to be in, having a bunch of energy, and we're going to be able to just farm this down, no problem. Still up a shield, and we see Tropius at the end, and this is just not a good matchup for my opponent now, and we still have the shield, so winning lead was, getting both their shields out of them was absolutely crucial. They probably should have just taken the lead loss right there, and that one's going to end up getting us the win. So, Game 5, 3-1, we see a Deoxys defense form again. We're going to see how this person plays it now. I've noticed that the way to beat Stunfisk off the lead is to charge up to 3 Psycho Boosts. Basically, you farm, take a bunch of attack from me, and then Psycho Boost once, instantly like this, even though they have the super attack drop, they Psycho Boost again, and now if they have one more ready to go, which they do, this player played it very well, they're gonna get a shield out of me, and their attack is very, very low, but now if they let this one go through, they're gonna be up a shield, and even though we have switch lead, and now we see an Azumarill, and that farms us down and puts us in a pretty bad spot because now we're in this awkward, as usual, Azumarill mirror match. They switch into Registeel, and now how do we want to deal with the Registeel? They're probably going to block the Hydro Pump. We have to go in with Altaria because we have a better chance at knocking out their Azumarill with our Azumarill. Otherwise, if we try to keep Altaria for the Azumarill, we're going to get Ice Beamed and destroyed. But Registeel does a pretty good job against Altaria too. Even though Altaria is good at Dragon Breathing down Registeel, we're just in a terrible spot. And this team has a serious problem with Registeel in the back, I will say that. If they start Registeel, you're in a really good spot. If they switch out, if they safe switch into something, then you're in kind of an awkward spot depending on what their last Pokemon is. And if they have Registeel in the back, then you're kind of in a tight spot. So the more I played this team, and I love this team very much, and I'm very happy with the results I got from it, but after playing it to a certain point, you see a lot of the weak spots in its armor. So they come back in with a Azumarill knowing that we have no shields. They Ice Beam instantly and take out the Altaria, and it looks like this one is going to be an L for us, as they are Hydro Pumping like crazy, and they still have Registeel in the back. We're going to try to clutch something and go for this Hydro Pump and maybe farm it down, but we leave it with 1 HP, and sometimes you win with 1 HP left, sometimes you take the L with 1 left. So that's set. We go 3-2. At least we're going plus. Item bag, as always, is very full. So, everyone's favorite, Tepig. I think today's biggest misplay is I only grabbed 1 glass of water. And it's not my tall glass of water, it's a regular sized glass of water. So, alright, interesting lead right here in set number 2 against a Lapras. Now, my phone crashes. This actually happened. Surprise. I'm trying to get into the leaderboard. I'm trying to be one of the world's greatest, and my phone crashes. So, I try to jump back into it, and then I cut the footage a little bit, and at some point, this happens. I get back into the game, and, you can just literally see that ball right there, and, we're also going to be seeing something pretty weird. I'm thinking here, I don't know, maybe the game glitched, maybe my opponent did something weird, but we're just taking shots right now. So, we get out of there. That's very unfortunate. So, 0-1 in the first set. I hate when stuff like that happens. And now, second game, we literally can't see our opponent's Pokemon. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you before, but I am throwing my Stunfisk out infinite times in the game. But we're still trying to make it work. Hopefully this isn't too much of a distraction to anybody watching. It's definitely a distraction when you're trying to play, but we still know what's going on. This actually happened. We're literally just throwing the ball out over and over again. So we blocked the first one. We're not getting deterred. We know how to play the Azumarill matchup at the beginning, but we're going to have to block 2 Ice Beams, and we're going to try to hit them with this discharge. They're going to take it. So go Stunfisk, go Stunfisk, go Stunfisk, go Stunfisk. And we're going to try to hit this Hypno discharge before it gets us with an Ice Punch. They're going to use their shield on it. So now we're not in the worst spot, but Hypno, luckily we're able to hit him with this discharge, but I think it's only because he's just holding all that energy to farm us down, so whatever we put in is going to get hit pretty hard. We go Altaria, we try to bait the Ice Punch. We quickly go to Azumarill. It doesn't work. He Thunder Punches us instantly. He has another one ready to go. We're going to take a third one before we're able to Ice Beam it, and we even switch locked ourselves right there, which was not that good, just trying to get him to waste some energy. And look at this, it's actually almost going to completely knock out the Azumarill. So now we have an Altaria versus whatever he has left, and it's that Hypno didn't get knocked out and knocked us out, so we get 1 farm. We see a Skarm, and Altaria is going to keep getting thrown into the battle continuously. So Altaria versus Skarm, we know how this one goes. This guy tasks him to do a ton, we're still going to try to be honorable and play it out and win. We do enough with Dragon Breath, and we do a little bit with Sky Attack. We're not going to win, but we're going to get pretty darn close. So, go Altaria. We exit the game real quick because that was a pain. So, 0-2 in the second set, but everything changes now. We go Azumarill lead, they switch out right away, safe switch into Sableye. I farm up a bunch of energy, and then right before they're going to hit me with the foul play, I go into that Azumarill that resists it, so I get all that energy off of them, and we keep a ton of energy on Stunfisk. I do think that that's the right way to play against the Sableye. You could go for one discharge and then farm up a little bit more and then swap out into the Azumarill, trying to get them to time that out right. So, they're going to hit us with a couple Shadow Sneaks. We're going to let them go through, and we're going to take out this Sableye, and we still have some farmed energy. And we see there Azumarill, and this is interesting. We have a ton of farmed energy on our Stunfisk, so we're going to hit him with some good damage with the Hydro Pump right here. I mean, good enough for an Azumarill mirror. And now right when the Stunfisk comes back in, we're ready with like 2 discharges. We're going to have to get some shields out of them. There's number 1. They're going to try to hit us with this Ice Beam right now. I think it's an Ice Beam. It's actually a Play Rough. That telegraphs a lot, because now we know it's Play Rough Hydro Pump, so depending on how much energy they have farmed up, we might not have to block the second one. And right now, I don't think it's a Hydro Pump, so I do use the shield. I probably didn't need to, and I'm farming a ton more, and we could have taken that Play Rough for sure. So we Mud Bomb, we knock them out, they hang on to their last shield, and we see a sigh of relief in Alolan Marowak, because now we are Mud Bombing, not taking too much energy to use that, just the tiniest little bit less, and with not having any shields, Altaria and Stunfisk will do very good against Alolan Marowak, it being very weak to ground type moves. So right here, we might not see Stunfisk again. We're just gonna whittle it down, and we're gonna get the dub right there. So pretty good. We have some very weird first 2 battles of the second set, but we try to come back strong and win out 3. We win the first one, and now we see an Umbreon, and I'm always very afraid of Umbreon. I think Umbreon is one of the best Pokemon in the Great League, and I want to put it on my team very, very badly. Charges up moves very quickly, just a tank of a Pokemon, an absolute tank. You know, if you have that Last Resort on it, that just really gives you a good chance against a Azumarill too, or anything that would normally resist it. And because it charges up so quickly, yeah, I love Umbreon. I really do, and unfortunately I don't have a Last Resort on mine, and I don't know if I want to use my Elite Charge TM on it right as we're about to go into the Ultra League. So they go into Registeel, they switch out, we go into Azumarill, or maybe vice versa. So now we're taking some Flash Cannons right here. We're going to let that second one go through, knowing we can get to another Hydro Pump. They do block the first one. Are they going to block this one? Hopefully not. They don't, and that's going to be very good for us, because that Registeel is definitely a threat. So we go back, we Mud Bomb, and they have an attack ready to go. We still have both of our shields. We're going to make a crazy read right here, thinking it's not Focus Blast, and it's not. And we're able to take out almost that Registeel. We have to keep in mind he swapped out right there at the last second and hit us with a charge move using his energy on the Umbreon. So we're okay with that, because he used a charge move to take out such a low HP Pokemon that it's not worth saving the shield. Even if we were going to be able to get off a discharge, I don't think it would have been worth it. Right here, I still don't know if it's worth it. We are really hanging on to our shields right now, and we farm down that Umbreon. Now we see an Azumarill, and now it makes me think I'm happy that we hung on to these shields, because now we're going to be able to get in 2 Sky Attacks in a row. And you can see right there, very, very quickly, if you have to rewind it, he switched back into Registeel. That was such a good play on my opponent's part, and that could make all the difference. But we're going to block this first one. We know we resist Azumarill's Bubble, and we might be able to get off a 4th Sky Attack. So there's number 3, and resisting that bubble, we're taking so little damage, and we go for the Sky Attack. They get the Ice Beam off first. Luckily, we have that shield, and that was a weird animation. It looked like he got hurt, even though we had a shield up, but we get the Sky Attack off, and before time is up, we take that dub. So 2-2, trying to finish strong, and now here's a Haunter lead. I've been seeing a ton of Haunter leads lately. An interesting game. They switch out instantly into Azumarill, and that's a good play, because we want to discharge the Azumarill, but we're not going to be able to. So a good switch, and we have to keep in mind now that that Haunter has some energy. So, I feel like I said that funny. NG. So, they take the discharge and we try to switch out quickly to take the Ice Beam or whatever we think it is. Normally, I think it's Ice Beam. So we're going to farm, and then we're going to go into a Azumarill, and now we're going to be able to take an Ice Beam or a Hydro Pump very well, and get just a ton of farmed energy on this Azumarill. Even though Bubble is not doing a ton of damage, we are doing enough, and look how much energy we're farming up right here. This is putting us in a really good position to put some shield pressure on our opponent. So they go into Skarm right here, and we're going to go right for a Hydro Pump. Could go for an Ice Beam, but they let that one go through. They don't think it's bait, and now we are ready to go for a Ice Beam. I'm sorry, but they got that Sky Attack ready. So unfortunately, we're gonna let Azumarill fall right here, and we're gonna go back. I actually don't know what we're gonna do. I would think Stunfisk, yeah, and we go for a Reed right here. And they don't go for it. We go for a Mud Bomb. That's a crazy play on my opponent. Now they're doing everything they can to save their shields. So we end up knocking it out with 2 Mud Bombs. So we have this Haunter with some energy on it. We have enough energy already to go for a Mud Bomb, and that would one-shot it. So we quickly see a shield, and now do we want to use our last shield? No, we want to save it for Altaria, because Altaria could whittle this thing down very much. So is this a Shadow Punch or a Shadow Ball? That's the question. We make the read that it's a Shadow Punch. We don't waste our shield, and that's a dub. After that, I guess that was enough for them to go, wow, he really didn't use a shield? That's crazy. But sometimes you got to make those hero reads. We see a Dino, which is great. I can never get enough Dino, I feel like. So even though we had some weird stuff going on in the first couple games of that set, we finished strong 3-2, so we're at 6-4 right now. Not bad. Not bad. But to get on this leaderboard, we need a run. We need a run right now. We need some dubs right now. So what can we do against Lapras? I'm going to go for this discharge, and my phone is not going to crash against this Lapras. Thank goodness. So we hit it with this discharge, and it looks like we tried to swap out right there to catch the Surf, but the Surf was coming through. So we're at a very even game right now, except their quick moves are doing a ton more. If they let this go through, which they don't, we would win lead, but we're actually going to get another Surf out of them. So seeing them expend all their energy, it puts us in not that bad of a spot, because now they have a no energy Lapras, and they're down a shield, and they do have, you know, switch advantage, but it doesn't really look like they're going to do anything. They're going to just try to Skull Bash this Azumarill, and we go for an Ice Beam right here, just trying to chip it down a little bit, and we value this shield, so, excuse me, we take the Skull Bash, and before we see a Surf or anything, we do farm it down, so we're not in the worst spot, because we're up a shield. So they go Meganium, and having only one shield, that puts them in kind of an interesting spot. They take the first one, and we quickly swap into Altaria to try to finish that Meganium, which they counter with the Deoxys. Interesting play on my part, I think, but I don't want to keep Azumarill in right there and just let it walk all over us. Even though we have 2 shields, it still looks like it's going to be a losing game against Azumarill, just because it charges up Frenzy Plant so quickly. So right here, I'm using both my shields on these rock slides. I know that Meganium can do very little to Altaria, and I'm surprised that they didn't use a shield to try to protect that, because now Altaria is just going to tear through this Meganium. With or without any shields on my opponent's end, we could take Frenzy Plants, even Earthquakes. Altaria is in a very good spot, but we're not going to play any games with it. We're not going to give them any wiggle room to try to get this miracle comeback. We go straight for the Sky Attack, and we take an a dub right there. So 1-zip, and now good, we see a Skarmory lead. That's the perfect lead for us. They hit us with the one quick move, and they go into Defense Form Deoxys. So that's kind of not that bad of a position for us. We're actually going to stay in, and we know that we have a Azumarill for the Skarmory. We would much rather have Stunfisk, but we make a swap right here to try to catch this Rock Slide. And that's going to give us some room to knock out this Deoxys with the Azumarill potentially, and also keep Stunfisk for the Skarmory. So they Rock Slide again. Thunderbolt would have done a ton. And we're going for some extra farmed energy, and we go for an Ice Beam. Now, I think if we kept Stunfisk in against this Deoxys, Azumarill would have been okay against Skarm. But interesting switch out. Could have put ourselves in a tough spot had it used Thunderbolt. So now they have Scarm. It looks like they're staying in for some reason. They switch out at the last second before I attack, which was a nice play on my opponent's part, right into Whiscash. So I'm going to farm up a little bit more and then try to do it right back to them and try to go Altaria right when they Mud Bomb, but they don't fall for it. So now I'm in a weird game against this of trying to not get hit with Blizzard. And the first one's Mud Bomb, and the second one now they're kind of on the clock because we're chipping away. So I actually let this one go through, and it was a Mud Bomb. So I do think that that's the right play to go for Mud Bomb twice. I really do. And then I think Blizzard comes out last, but it's Mud Bomb again. What a good play on my opponent's part. That's crazy. And they still have a shield right now. So Mud Bombing even 3 times and getting us to use 2 shields. I mean, that's both of our shields right there. So now we need Stunfisk to farm this thing down and then Mud Bomb the Whiscash, get a shield out of it, and Mud Bomb it again. But should it hit us with a Mud Bomb, we'll know that Altaria can just farm it down. So they have to block this, otherwise they lose. And we're actually going to get one more. And they really needed a Blizzard for the Altaria. That was their win condition. And they had to farm down the Stunfisk a little bit more, and then Mud Bomb, and then probably farm the tiniest bit more, and then Blizzard us. So they're not able to do that, and Stunfisk will grab us the win there. So we see another very good lead against Jirachi. Stunfisk has a great matchup against Jirachi, and they switch into their Altaria, and finally we get to put Azumarill in on someone else's Altaria, which is like the best feeling, especially when you have Ice Beam on your Azumarill. So they let it go through. They just let it go through. And we're going to take another Sky Attack right here. We know we have a good matchup waiting for that Jirachi in the back, and we're going to farm this thing down and try to put some shield pressure on. So that worked out very nice. We see the Jirachi, and here is hopefully the first shield when we Hydro Pump. And it is. And that thing is doing a ton of quick damage, and we're going to be able to get off this Ice Beam at the very last second. And it does a good amount of damage, so we go into Stunfisk very quickly before they could farm up and knock out the Azumarill, and we go into a Mud Bomb, which they use their second shield on, and we try to hit them with one more Mud Bomb, but they're actually going to get their charge move off. It's Psychic, we take it, maybe thinking it's Doom Desire, but it's not, and now we still have 2 shields against a Whiscash with an Altaria in the back, and with them not having any shields, this is going to be an interesting game as well. Hopefully we don't throw this one away to the Mud Bomb scenario, but they do farm up a good amount of energy. They're going to farm this thing down completely. Luckily we're able to get off a second Mud Bomb, and I do think that Altaria is going to be able to farm this thing down with quick moves. They go for a Mud Bomb. I think that's the right play on their part. They're going for a second one here. It's probably a Mud Bomb, but it's a Blizzard. You don't take that chance. And when we see that Sky Attack ready to go, we use it. So right there, I thought it was another Mud Bomb. It was actually the Blizzard. If you got 2 shields and an Altaria against a very weak Whiscash, use those shields, baby. So another dub right there. This set's going pretty well. We see a Hypno at the beginning, and this is an interesting neutral kind of lead, except they have Ice Punch potentially, which will be super effective against us. So before we get that second discharge off, we are going to see the Ice Punch and take about 35, maybe probably like 40% right there. We hit them with the discharge, so we're not in the worst spot. Their quick moves are doing a lot, and Hypno is such a good Pokemon. And we just let this one go through. And don't know if that was the right play, because if this has Thunder Punch, it's going to start taking out Azumarill too. And this is why I said in one of my last videos that Hypno is such a problem. I mean, we take it out, but look at the damage it's done already to us. You know, it took out entirely our first Pokemon and like 60% of our second Pokemon. And now we have Azumarill, Whiscash. This game, it's not over. Both of us still have both shields, so we're not in the best spot, worst spot, just interesting game. So we get 1 shield out of them. And it looks like we're going to try to switch into that Altaria and time the Mud Bomb, but we don't. We do get hit with the Mud Bomb. We let it go through, and we see my favorite Bastiodon that is automatically, you know. So we Amskar out of there, and now we see another Hypno lead. So I believe this is game 4. We're 2-1, and now how are we going to play against this Hypno? I mean, we just obviously are at a disadvantage against Hypno off the lead. We can see it charges up very quickly, it tanks our moves pretty well, and it does a ton of damage to us, and it'll do a ton of damage to both of our Pokemon in the back. So this team, Hypno is a problem for this team, but I see so many Haunters now that it kind of discourages me from using Hypno, so we try to make a switch right here, and it doesn't work. We get hit with the Thunder Punch, and I'm thinking, damn, like, we're really just going to take 2 L's in a row simply for the fact of we're fighting against Hypno, and it's really good, but they maybe don't know exactly how weak we are to it. So we use a shield right here, and we're going to try to farm it down, but before we can, they switch out into their Registeel. Don't think this would knock us out, this Flash Cannon. It almost... That was so gutsy, and also lucky that we were able to hang on, and we go right back into Stunfisk right here, and now this game is winnable, because the Hypno doesn't have any energy on it. It's very weak, and we actually get one more bit of farmed energy from the quick move to knock out the Registeel, and we see a Shadow Snorlax, a very interesting pick. And they're going to use their shield right there, and now, so we're not really worried about the Hypno in the back. The Registeel's been taken care of, and we have a shield. So, I guess we test the waters thinking maybe it's a Body Slam, right? And it is. And it does a very good amount of damage, probably 35-40%, and it's charging up pretty quickly. So we're going to block this one right here, and one Sky Attack should put us in a really good spot. And they switch out, but we don't fall for the switch. We don't waste our energy on that Hypno that had very little HP left. We just farm it down, and when the Snorlax comes back in, we hit him with the Sky Attack and get the win. So that one could have went south, but we're able to savage the Hypno game and go 4-1. So pretty good so far. Went 3-2, 3-2, and 4-1. So that is 10-5. 10-5. Need to catch a Steel type right there for the Sinnoh research. I think it was the Sinnoh. So we're at 23-91. We'll talk more about the points ladder at the end of the video. So we see a Mawile here, and we have a great matchup against that, knowing Mud Bomb, super effective against Steel types. They switch into Hypno, and we're going to try to make our famous play right here and take the Ice Punch on the Azumarill, and it's just not working. It seems like the only Pokemon it's not working against is Hypno, but there are a ton of times where the Azumarill switch against Sableye and other Pokemon just end up working very, very nicely, and you get them to waste all their energy on a move that's not very effective, which is such a good feeling. So right here we pretty much get this Hypno knocked out. Unfortunately, it has enough HP to hit us with a Focus Blast. Not enough HP, but also enough energy for a Focus Blast. So we knock it out, and we see a Shiftry, and that puts us in a real tough spot. And they have the Mawile for our Altaria. And it takes some good damage, and their Fire Fang is doing very little to our Altaria, and we're going to have to use a shield right here. We need Altaria to knock out the Shiftry. That's unfortunate that it was just a power-up punch. We wasted a shield on that. Would have been not very effective and done very, very little. So, this one's not looking too good for your boy. I will say that. So we see the Play Rough. We switch very quickly and try to hit him with this Mud Bomb. Don't know how we could savage this one. They go back into Shiftry. They get some extra energy. And if we could have possibly gotten to that Sky Attack before it was ready to foul play, we could have done something. But, wow. Even before we could Sky Attack and knock it out, I had enough energy for a Leaf Blade even. And that'll do. That'll do plenty when you're so weak. So 0-1 in the first game. Not how you want to start. 10-6 overall. And we see a good lead. This is what we want. We see the safe switch into Vigoroth. We farm up a little bit. Vigoroth is going to be very good at farming energy very quickly. So right now it's ready for almost 2 Body Slams. I think. So it seems. We take the first one. We take the second one. We're going to hit him with this Ice Beam. Vigoroth is pretty tanky, but it Yeah, what's going on in the back right now? But it is going to take some damage from an Ice Beam. So we take 3 body slams. We're going to hit him with the second Ice Beam. It will survive this. But we see a shield. Did it use 2 shields on the Vigoroth? Did it not take the first Ice Beam either? Okay, interesting. Alright, so elects to use both shields to save this Vigoroth right here. So we have a bunch of energy. And we're going to discharge, and we're going to farm it down. And now we have a bunch of energy, 2 shields to their no shields. We're in a very, very good spot. We're going to go right into Altaria right here. Even if they go into the Skarmory, we have 2 shields. And that Stunfisk matchup against the Whiscash is just not good. I mean, they have no shields, we have 2. We're going to protect ourselves from the Sky Attack, because it would do a crazy amount of damage. And we're not in the most amazing spot right here, even though we're shields up. We're going to farm a little bit extra, and then we're going to go for the Sky Attack so that when the Whiscash comes back in, we could Sky Attack that too, and really try to get some damage onto it. But it's going to Mud Bomb right here. We block it. I think we would have been close. I don't know if we would have survived it or not. Definitely would have been close. So we go for this right here, and we're actually trying to switch into Stunfisk and hit it with a Mud Bomb, but we're going to get that Mud Bomb out of it, and that's a good sign for us because now we know it has very, very little energy, and we're going to be able to get to a second Mud Bomb. So that's another dub. And, alright, so now I'm losing track of the records. We see an Azumarill lead. I think that's a good time for a water break. We all know how the Azumarill lead goes, right? We see the Ice Beam, we're going to shield that up. And we have some farmed energy. Now we're going to use the second discharge and try to put some shield pressure on them. And they are going to shield this one, so we are going to time out this one correctly. It's not a Thunder Punch Hypno. We are going to time it out and get them to waste all that precious energy on an Ice Beam against an Azumarill, which does very little. And their counter for Azumarill is Skarm. So we're not that upset with that because now we're putting a lot of shield pressure on them because Hydro Pump will do a ton of damage, and they let it go through. So pretty good spot for us. I think we let this one go through because we can go back into Stunfisk and farm up even more energy right here. We might be able to just farm this thing down all the way. And we're actually just going to go for the Mud Bomb and knock it out. Maybe they use the shield. I don't know why they would. And we see a Haunter at the end, and now having only 1 shield and us still having a shield. This is a very, very good spot for us. They have to block the first one, and we're even going to get the second one off before they could try anything crazy. That does basically 100%. It almost knocks it out entirely. We take the Shadow Punch, and then we go right into Altaria to try to farm down the Haunter, and we know we can protect this. And this one's not in the bag yet, but I mean, it looks like it's going to get wrapped up pretty nice because we're going to Sky Attack, just about knock it out. And an Ice Beam, even if he gets to the Ice Beam, it might not knock us out right there. We might have had a little bit of HP left to go. So another dub and another good lead right here in Registeel. And they switch out very quickly into Azumarill. And as we were going to counter switch right there, we could see the switch screen was already up. I think, okay, don't know if I want to switch yet. Let me try to put some damage on this Azumarill because Stunfisk is our best answer to Azumarill, and then we'll go into our own after we get a shield out of him. So we're just going to play the Azumarill game right here, but we are up, we are up a shield, which is important later on. I can't stop hiccuping, excuse me. We take a second Hydro Pump. Now we're just Hydro Pumping back and forth, as Azumarills do with each other when they don't know Play Rough. So, are we going to be able to farm this down? Looks like they're getting a little nervous here. It might be an Ice Beam, and we might be able to hang on, but it is an Hydro Pump. It is a Hydro Pump. So, now we have a decision to make. We farm down the Azumarill. We're not going to see the Registeel. We're going to see Altaria. So we go into our own Altaria and we see the Registeel. So this is an interesting game, but we are up a shield, which is important. And I do think that Altaria will put enough pressure onto this Registeel, and then Stunfisk will be able to clean up, especially with shields up. Even against Altaria, I think we'll be okay. So right here, do we want to use the shield? No, I would say we want Stunfisk to win the game for us. So we have a ton of energy, and that's the way it needs to stay the entire rest of the game if we want to win. So we're going to use another Mud Bomb. Maybe could have farmed down, but we don't want to. We want these shields now. And this is going to come down to the wire. Looks like one discharge. Doesn't matter, they kind of have to block any of them. And Dragon Pulse is going to do more than any of those sky attacks, even though we need to block all of them. Because any damage is enough damage at this point for my opponent. And this one's actually not looking good for us, just because Altaria's Dragon Breath is so good. So we need to get off, it looks like, 2 discharges to win the game. And it's doing so much damage, I just don't know if it's going to happen. There's one. Can we get to a second one? Oh, it's so close, but we can't get to a second one, and we take the L right there. But if we charged up one extra time against the Registeel, we probably would have had to waste a shield on its Focus Blast, or Flash Cannon even for the extra chip, so I guess that was just a losing game, and that's just unfortunate for us. So, we see a Stunfisk mirror right here, and we're going Mud Bomb, Mud Bomb. Go for the second one real quick. They take it. We are going to take this one. And it pretty much always comes down to that. Do you want to shield the last one if you lose the lead? So they go into Hypno at the last second. They don't want to play the speed tie game. We are going to hit that Hypno. And we're going to... This is a tough spot for us. Hypno is such a tough spot for us. Because we're going to do a ton of damage between Mud Bomb and Discharge, which is great. But now it has so much energy that... And we know the Stunfisk has enough energy for a Discharge in the back. So we actually just take a Shadow Ball right here. Must be Shadow Ball Ice Punch. And they're going to block this Ice Beam right here. And it looks like we were trying to get a little cheeky with the switch. But we're gonna take this Shadow Ball as well. And before we can get to that Ice Beam, we get knocked out. So we go Altaria. Altaria is now going to be good against the Stunfisk, where Azumarill wouldn't have been. And we're going to take whatever this is. We need these 2 shields against whatever he has in the back. And it's a Lantern. So this game is not completely out of the realm possibility for us. We're going to go with Dragon Pulse. They're not going to block it. And they're not doing a lot of quick damage. So whatever they throw out, we need to block. And even though they still have a shield, we're doing a ton of damage with Dragon Breath, and we're just going to go for the Sky Attack here because we need to put that shield pressure on them. We do get the last shield out of them, and now we are going to block this last one, and then farm them down, and then hopefully farm down the Stunfisk, or if we can farm up enough with the Sky Attack, hit him with that, and we do before we could try anything, and that was a very close one, but we are going to come away with the win. So anytime we get a win over a Hypno, it's always good. When they elect not to shield the Hypno, that just works out very well for us, because they have no idea. Sometimes they don't really just know how good it is against us. So, sorry, my phone's at 20%. This phone is terrible. So we see a Rufflet. We went 3-2. So I think right now we are 3-2, 3-2, 4-1, 3-2, leaving us at 3, 6, 10, 13, 13-7. 13-7. So we're climbing. We're climbing. We need some wins right here in this last set. So we see a Swampert at the beginning. That's not how you get wins. And we switch out very quickly to try to catch this Hydro Cannon. And it is a Sludge Wave. We don't time that correctly. They charge up a little bit more. They hit us with a Sludge Wave, and now we see Skarm. And we're going to do as much as we can before we let the Skarm knock us out, and then hopefully Stunfisk can come back in and do everything it can to take care of the Skarm, and then still also have farmed energy and try to do something to the Swampert, should they go back into Swampert. So right here, Altaria did its job already. We go into Stunfisk. We're going to take this All shields are for Swampert and whatever else they have in the back. A little piece of hair is bothering me. Just can't get it to sit right. So we see the Swampert, and now we're ready with charge moves, right as I get it to sit right. One Mud Bomb, they take. Second Mud Bomb, they block. And now we're going to try to get that Hydro Cannon switch right at the perfect moment, because it's not a Thunder Punch Hypno, and we eat that real good. And this bubble is doing some very good neutral damage. And now we see... Don't touch the hair. A Tentacruel switch. What the hell is this? But it's shiny. Respect. But what the hell? We are seeing a Tentacruel right now, and we let the first one go through because, I mean, it's Acid Spray. That's an interesting read because I really don't know what Tentacruel does. I wasn't ready for it, but even though it's a poison type, we made the read that maybe it was just Acid Spray. So we have 2 shields right now with 1 Pokemon left at about 50%. We know it's Acid Spray, but that's fine. We see the switch. And because we have so much farmed energy and a shield, we might be able to take this one. They're going to use their shield right there. And we're going to use ours right here. And we're farming up like maybe just 1 extra time because we know we have, or we think we have more energy. And are we going to be able to get this dub right now? They get the move off, but it's just... Acid Spray, and it's not going to do enough to take us out. So the Mud Bomb is going to get us the win. Kudos to them for running a Tentacruel. That's cool as hell. But we are able to overcome the Swampert lead, and it looks like we are rewarded with a win. We don't get rewarded in the next game, but we'll take a Registeel lead for sure. And so it looks like they are going to opt to play this one out. And we always take the first one. Except we blocked this one for some reason. I don't know why. Sometimes I guess I feel like switching it up. But in these days, I almost always take the first one. So I let that one go through. Now they switch into Azumarill. And now we're in a good spot because Stunfisk really did its job against Registeel. And it's also the best Azumarill counter. So we're going to be able to make that play again. That's like my favorite play, to switch on the Ice Beam, get them to waste all their precious Azumarill energy, because it really is. He charges up very moderately at best, I would say. I wouldn't say he's speedy, but he's a little faster than an Altaria Sky Attack, but he's definitely not slow. It's an interesting farm up for Azumarill. It's an interesting tempo, I guess. So he goes back into the Registeel now. We're going to just go for Ice Beam and try to knock it out or get it close enough. And we do take it out. So we're down a shield, but we're in a pretty good spot here. And we see Haunter at the end, and every little bubble that we do to Haunter is a lot as he tries to farm us down. Haunter is a glass cannon. Shadow Ball does a ton, but he gets one-shotted by everything. We go quickly into Altaria right here. We can take a Shadow Ball. It does about 75%, but we can take it. And before it goes for anything else, we just farm it down. And they have this Azumarill. We can use the shield and then get the last shield out of them with our Sky Attack. And then we have enough in the back to between Stunfisk and this Altaria's quick moves that they don't even shield. And we saw Azumarill in the back with a little bit of what went back and forth. So we take that dub. So we're 2-0 in the last set. We were 13-7, so now we are 15-7. So we see another Registeel lead. How are we going to play this one? We are going to block the first one again. Looks like on this day I decided to take no chances with my Stunfisk. The boy's just an asset. He really is. So we're going to go for the knockout here. An outright win lead. Be down a shield, but they do... use a shield right there. We do take a Focus Blast, but now we see the switch, and it looks like we might be able to make the play again, although we have a little health, so he might just try to farm us down. So we go, before we can let him farm anymore, we do just go right into our own Azumarill. And we don't see a Play Rough, we see a Hydro Pump, which is good for us because Play Rough charges as quickly as Ice Beam does, I believe, and it does very solid damage, just about as much as Hydro Pump for less energy. So we're in a pretty good spot right here, especially because they used that shield on the Registeel and then they swapped it out. So they kind of put themselves in an interesting spot, and now they're going to switch right here back into Registeel just like the last opponent did, and we're just going to do the same exact thing. Ice Beam does enough. Doesn't do a ton, and we see a Haunter again. It's the same exact team as last time, and we're in the same exact position as last time. We played it the same way. We see the last shield, and this time we're farming, and this time it looks like, I mean, we can't take the Shadow Ball again. We could play it the exact same way and farm it down before it does anything, except we hung on with a little bit, and when the Azumarill comes back in, there's the Sky Attack, and they're out of shields in this one, and yeah, exact same team, almost the exact same game, and we'll take that, because Registeel leads are great for us. So now we see an Altaria lead. And we know we didn't charge enough for a Dragon Pulse. There's no bluff right there when you know the count, so if you get to your discharge and then get to like 3 more, right when you get to that second discharge, that is when they would have enough for Dragon Pulse. So right there they might try to mind game you and try to bait you out with a Sky Attack, but we knew that was a little too early, so there's no reason to block that. So we're gonna hit them with a third discharge right here. And this one they block. So we lost lead, but we're up a shield, and we're going to farm that Altaria down, and so we're at about 80%, and we see a Skarm, we're up a shield, and we're not in the worst spot right now, honestly, not a bad spot. We go with Azumarill, they switch instantly into Whiscash, and that's not a Meganium, so that's not, you know, being up a shield against a Whiscash. I like this position. We go for Ice Beam, we're going to put shield pressure on them, and they're going to let that one go through. They have to be very, very cautious with that last shield right now. We go for the other Ice Beam. They let this one go through, and looks like we're going to be able to farm them down after we get hit with this last Mud Bomb. And we're going to be able to put shield pressure on them when the Skarm comes out. We need our shields for Altaria right here. We're going to use this one right here and kind of trade off with it, because now with the Ice Beam ready to go, we're going to get them to use their last shield. So we go into Altaria, and now it's the race. We're doing a ton of damage with Dragon Breath. They're doing some good damage with Air Slash, but we do have the shield for Sky Attack. So now our Sky Attack plus the damage from the Dragon Breaths should be enough to take the win right here. And we do. So good 4-0 in the last set. We were 13-7. We are now 17-7, and we see an Azumarill lead for game 25. My mouth is drier than the Sahara Desert right now. So here we go. Discharge. They let it go through. They take a ton of damage. Auto block this one. Don't take a chance, even if it is play rough. Could be Ice Beam, and that would be very, very bad for us. So we hit them with another discharge. They let it go through. We can't farm them down, and we go right to our Azumarill. Very interesting play on our part. Don't really know why I did that. Puts us in a pretty bad spot. But they let this Ice Beam go through, and it's weird against Azumarill because we maybe could have Mud Bombed right there against their Azumarill, and we need our shield. It's very important so they can get to a second Ice Beam, or play rough for that matter, and potentially win lead. So we make a switch, we try to do something cool, and we get hit with a Meganium, but we're not, even though we got punished, we're not in the worst spot, because it's just Registeel and a pretty weak Azumarill. So even though they have 2 shields, we know how quickly Stunfisk can get those Mud Bombs and discharges off. So right here, we're going to try to chip this thing down. We take the Flash Cannon. We absolutely need the shield for Stunfisk. And we go into Stunfisk, and now here's the shield pressure. Instantly with the Mud Bomb, they switch into Azumarill. Wow, that was very, very fast. And we know it's just a play rough. We can take it, so we take a ton of damage, and we're going to even let them do some bubble damage too, so we could farm up. But we got 1 shield out of them, and here's going to be the second one. And we're gonna block this one too. Even though we're so low on HP, we know that that lock on does so little. So here's a Mud Bomb. We got those 2 shields out of him very quickly, and we're gonna go into Altaria and try to farm it down for the win. But we didn't even have to. Mud Bomb took care of it. So we finished 5-0, even though we played that last one kind of weirdly, giving us 18-7 for this day, which is very important because if I may, read off some numbers as I'm catching a Litwick, this will get us up to, I will wait for it to be shown, 24, I did it in slow motion, I thought that would have been cute, but that was kind of annoying. 24:48 we're at, 24:48, and on May 23rd, the leaderboard in 500th place, or in 499th place, it was 24:42. So we were actually at enough points to get on the leaderboard before it updated at around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. When it updates, whoever is in last place, it always seems to increase by 10 to 15 points every day. So it's never that easy to just get in, be like, oh, 6 points, alright, I'm in tomorrow or today when it updates. When it updates, it's going to increase because everybody keeps getting more and more points by playing more and winning more, so the lowest person just keeps having more points. So when it updated from 24:42 to 24:57. It went up 15 points, and we had 24:48, so we were 9 points away. Now, that's May 23rd. We need 9 points, but on May 24th, my birthday, we assume that it's going to go up another 10 to 15 points. We don't say 10 because we want to ensure that we have all of our ground covered, so whatever the highest number possible, we want to make sure we're covered for that. So 15 plus the 9 that we're behind from May 23rd's update puts us at 24 points. If we get 8 points for a win, 8, 16, 24, 32, we can go 4-1, but that one loss would drop us 8 points, so it'd be 8, 16, 24. So 4-1 would get us right on the bubble. And I told myself I was going to wake up on my birthday, and if I went 4-1, if I got around 24 or so points, I was just going to see. I was just going to roll the dice and see if it went up 10 points, if it went up to 15 points, and if we didn't get there, if we were off by a point or two, we'll get it the next day. I would love to get it on my birthday, but if we could go 5-0, that would be fantastic. Then we wouldn't have to worry about it. If we went 3-2, we would have to go 3-2 a few times, like 3 times, to get 8, 16, 24 points. And if we could go like 3-2, 3-2, 4-1, we'd be good. I was very nervous, and I really wanted to not only get on the leaderboard, but if I could do it on my birthday, that would be crazy. And that is in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. And if you guys enjoyed, if you learned anything, please subscribe and leave a like. Follow me on Instagram, RyoPopGolden. We are nearing 500 subs on here and 3,000 followers on Instagram, and I am very, very thankful for that. Thank you guys so much for all the support, especially from these videos so far. I've been getting a lot of good feedback, and I'm very happy that I could just be playing the game that I love and sharing it with everybody and just having everyone enjoy it. So thank you guys so very much. I mean that. Thank you, and we will see you in the next one. One glass of water.